Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Professor Ming's Strategic Insights. On September the 3rd, Communist China held a military parade commemorating China's victory over Japanese aggression 80 years ago. In the parade, they displayed all kinds of weapon systems. In the air, we see new types of jet fighters, bombers, reconnaissance planes, and UAVs. And on the ground, we see all kinds of tanks and armored vehicles, and of course, all kinds of missiles, surface-to-surface and surface-to-air missiles, and of course, ICBMs. Furthermore, there are some new type of weapon systems that caught our eyes: UAVs and UUVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, and unmanned underwater vehicles. So that's quite impressive. As we repeatedly tell you, they pay much attention to propaganda. This time, the official mass media tells us that they do this parade in order to remember history, commemorating the martyrs, to cherish peace, and to create future. And they also say this is a proclamation of the merits or contribution of the Oriental battlefield. The battlefield in China is the one that started the earliest and lasted the longest one in fighting the fascists. The Chinese fought bravely and suffered a total of 350 casualties, including civilians and soldiers. And in the war, the Chinese army annihilated 1.5 million Japanese soldiers, holding up the Japanese main forces and to create the critical conditions for victory over fascism all over the world. Like I say, they're very good in essay composing. The language they use are usually beautiful and touching, but it's almost all lies. They say that just to usurp the discourse power from the nationalist government, or the KMT, the Kuomintang, the Nationalist Party. We all know that the war against Japanese invasion was led by Mr. Chiang Kai-shek, the leader of the Republic of China, and also the chairman of the Kuomintang Party, the Nationalist Party. After watching this massive military parade, I have a few observations to share with you. In the study of international relations or international politics, usually we use several indicators to assess other countries' intention, the language and their capabilities, their behavior, and their belief or their value systems. The first one is, of course, the language. In the speech delivered prior to the military parade, Xi Jinping told the entire world, quote unquote, "The Chinese people firmly stands on the right side of the history, or the correct side of the history." That manifests their self-recognition. That means they try to define history, as they always do, since the publication of the Communist Manifesto written by Marx. So if they're standing on the right side of the history, that means the rest of the world who are skeptical about them or who oppose them are categorized as standing on the wrong side of the history. When they see themselves as the executor of the historical mission, that means dialogues and compromises are irrelevant. What they want and what they need are struggles and annihilation of the opponent or of the enemies, or should we say, enemy of the history. To the leaders in Beijing, that may mean self-confidence, but to the outside world, it's a threat. The second indicator we use to assess a country's intention is its capabilities. In the eyes of the Beijing leaders, display of this kind of army is to show their determination to safeguard peace, but in the eyes of the outside world, it is a sheer demonstration of militarism, jingoism, or even expansionism. The former UK Foreign Minister cleverly asked a very penetrating question in the year of 2023. I believe it was in April. He asked the Chinese communists, "Why are you building such a massive army in a peacetime, which is unprecedented in China's history? It well exceeds the need for self-defense, and it seems we are ready to wage a war." And the third indicator is their behavior. In recent years, we've been witnessing their expansionist behavior, such as transforming the shoals in the South China Sea into islands and militarized them all the way to the full. And they truncated the one country, two systems in Hong Kong, forcing tens of thousands of Hong Kong citizens to leave the city. And we also witnessed how they practice wolf warrior diplomacy, and how they support Russia's invasive war against Ukraine, and how they bully their neighbors, from Japan to South Korea to the Philippines, and of course, Taiwan. Well, the list can go on, but I think that should be good enough for us to illustrate the point. A country's belief or value systems is the last indicator that we use to assess their intention. When Xi Jinping said that the Chinese people stands firmly on the right side of the history, that means they oppose the universal value we cherish. We cherish democracy, freedom, rule of law, and human rights. But they denounce all those values. They want to replace democracy with communism, with one-party dictatorship. They want to change our way of life. They want to enslave us, and they want to oppress us, and they even want to slaughter us. Namely, it's a confrontation between two value systems. In other words, it's an implicit declaration of war against leading European countries and the United States, Canada, Japan, Australia, and of course, Taiwan. And some international mass media says that Chinese Communists does this is to distort and to rewrite the history of the World War II. They try to downplay the role of the United States, and they try to strengthen the role of the Soviet Union, and thereby to strengthen the narratives of anti-America and anti-Japan. Some European leaders criticize this military parade as a direct challenge to the international order based on rules and regulations. So some people even go as far as to saying that Xi Jinping is going to form a new axis of totalitarianism, or an alliance of the bad guys. So it's not just to oppose the United States, it is a direct challenge to international order. It aims at sabotaging the current world order. During the parade, there's an interlude. It is reported by the Reuters. It is reported that Xi Jinping, Putin, and Kim Jong-un had a conversation. I have to read it out. According to the Reuters, Putin says this: with the development of biotechnology, human organs will continue to be transplanted, and people will live even younger and younger, even achieving immortality. Xi Jinping replied, some people predict that in this century, it's possible for people to live to 150 years old. That's a shocking conversation that testifies to the speculations that organ transplantation is a state behavior. The interesting thing is that the Reuters then received a lawyer's letter from the CCTV, China's central TV station, demanding them to delete the video. Although they got the permission from the CCTV, but the Reuters had no choice but to delete it. But after that, Reuters released an official statement, which says this: we stand by the accuracy of what we published. We have carefully reviewed the published video and found no reason to believe that Reuters' long-standing commitment to accurate and impartial news coverage was compromised. So the fact that the CCTV, the China Central TV station, demanding the Reuters to delete the video, is a direct proof that Communist China is actually conducting human organ harvesting. And that is a state behavior. Well, basically, that's my take of the military parade of Communist China. And that's all I want to share with you today. I hope you like it. Please subscribe to our program if I haven't done so, and share it with your friends. And do remember to click the icon bell. I'll see you next time.